Remember 2002, flip phones, frosted tips, and the golden age of the PS2, a time where the idea of Donald and Goofy fighting Heartless alongside Cloud Strife would have definitely been more of a fan fiction than something that could actually happen, right? And yet, somehow, this crazy fever dream fan fiction of an idea actually happened. So today, we're deep diving into the origins of one of gaming's most ambitious and emotional journeys. That's right, I'm talking about the original Kingdom Hearts, the game that proved that magic can be found where you least expect it. And even if that magic might involve a duck yelling to you about the power of friendship, and also might be the strongest mage in that entire universe, but we're not here to cover Kingdom Hearts 3 today. No, today we're talking all about Kingdom Hearts 1. So I'm Remy, and I just want to know if anyone shut down Kingdom Hearts 1, and if not, let's. So when you're a kid, the darkness feels, well, endless. It hides under your bed, it creeps around your corner, and it fills your room when the lights are out. It's more than just the absence of light, it's the fear of being alone, of losing everything you love. But what if I told you that darkness you always feared wasn't some vague childhood terror, but a force, a presence that swallows everything up in its path, memories, people, even entire worlds. It takes, it consumes, and worst of all, it makes you believe that there's no way out. And the only way to fight it, well, it's friendship, light. I know it sounds corny, and yeah, no, I totally get it. That's something you totally hear from like a Saturday morning cartoon. But sometimes, something as simple as reaching out your hand for someone going through a rough time, for them, that could be the light at the end of the tunnel. Even if that tunnel has a grumpy duck and a really surprisingly wise dog, and a kid with shoes too big named Sora. That's the idea. This is the story of how Kingdom Hearts 1 turned those ideas, darkness, light, friendship, into something magical, messy, emotional, and unforgettable. So how did this start? What was the development? What was the vision? How did this ball get rolling? Well, it all began with a simple what if. In a now legendary elevator ride in Japan, a Disney executive and a Square employee crossed paths in the same building. Square wanted to make a game as impactful as Super Mario 64, and Disney had IPs. So somehow a deal was struck. The result? In February 2000, development for Kingdom Hearts 1 would begin. At the time, it sounded completely unhinged. One company made movies where mice wore pants and danced with brooms and snakes and everybody was happy at the end of it. The other made stories where everyone tragically dies or they fight God at the end of it. It's normally the fight God route. And somehow, they talked about it and something clicked. Something amazing clicked with these people. And that magic led up to the release, which surprisingly was oddly muted. Honestly, people weren't sure what this was. Was it a Disney game? Was it a Final Fantasy game? Or some kind of Kingdom Hearts thing?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Hey, yo, he did the name drop. I did do the name drop. Thank you, disembodied voice. Anyway, when it launched, people paid attention. Critics were surprised by how much emotional depth this story carried. It wasn't just a novelty. It had heart, no puns intended. Okay, maybe like a little bit of pun intended right there. And the fans, well, we clearly got obsessed. Fan art, fan fiction, cosplay, tears, the whole package. This new franchise literally might have had it all. And with that, and I'm gonna regret saying this because it's so corny, it hit like a keyblade, right to the feels. Yeah, I get it, it was bad, it was corny, whatever, but you get the point. It's something that hit you so hard and left such an impression, like somebody using a key as a sword. And the one behind this crazy combination, this kind of collab you would have never thought possible, was Tetsuya Nomura. And when it comes to Tetsuya Nomura, up to this point, he was mostly known for his character designs, like in Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII. And he was a very good designer. Clearly, everyone loves Final Fantasy VII and VIII designs. They are sick. Have you seen Cloud and Sephiroth? Oh my goodness, he knocked it out of the park with those. But this was different. For this venture, Kingdom Hearts was his first time directing a game, and he knew he had to make it count. For this game, Nomura brought themes that he loved, such as friendship, inner darkness, light overcoming evil, and shoes that clearly could stomp out a Heartless on a one-on-one street fight, because the shoes of almost everybody in Kingdom Hearts are so huge. It's kind of, it's not even kind of ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Sora is like 13 with size 27 stompers, bro. Like, what even is that? It's so silly.
Let him get up, let him get up. Fight back.
Anyway, It was his emotional sandbox, and we all got dragged into it. The merging of Disney and Final Fantasy, it was like trying to mix oil and water, but like with mouse ears, and a katana the size of 3 grown men. But somehow, Square was ready to take up this challenge. They had to make an action RPG that still felt like an RPG while working with the restrictions, Disney had, because clearly, Mickey couldn't be the bad guy, let's be honest. Mickey could never be evil, ever, in anything, because Mickey Mouse is clearly the symbol of everything good in the world. Yep. Mickey, Disney, capitalism. Anyway, obviously with a Disney-inspired IP, he couldn't let Disney characters die. Let's be honest here. There's no way they're going to kill off Hercules in some one-off video game that may not be successful. So, they had to do something different. But at the same time, you had to keep in mind the Final Fantasy characters that were going to be in this game couldn't act completely different. You wouldn't want an overly emotional Cloud. Like, super happy-go-lucky Cloud would be kind of jarring. Don't get me wrong, I dated Final Fantasy VII. You want Cloud to be happy, obviously. But I don't want Cloud showing up to me, dapping me up and say, "Hey, buddy, we're best friends. Who are you, stranger? Where is Mr. Strife? I don't know you. You kind of scare me." What happened to the guy I just spent 37 plus hours fighting Sephiroth and his crazy mom with? Like, who are you? Who are you, guy? Why do you have a wing? I'm confused now. But you look cool, but I'm still confused on who you are. And so, to do that, they decided to make a new character. And here comes a new challenger, Sora. I'm sorry, I just wanted to make a Smash Bros. Reference at least once in this video. So, there you go, Smash Bros. Reference. He's in Smash. Okay, back to the video now. A brand new character to be the face of this new IP. He would be the avatar in a sense, balancing both worlds, and somehow being likable enough to where you kind of ignore the fact that he yelled out Riku so many times in that game. Like, oh my goodness, he yelled out Riku so many times. Now, granted, Disney wasn't gonna just give Square free reign of their characters. No, sir. Disney is not that nice. We all know this. What they did, they sent representatives to make sure Mickey looked right, that Goofy wasn't swinging a sword, and that Donald's rage felt appropriate but not overbearing. Their investment kept things spiraling into chaos. Well, at least, like minor chaos, bare minimum. In short, Disney grounded the project and Square made it fly. Because honestly, if we had just let Kingdom Hearts and Square cook by themselves without the Disney influence, honestly, I feel like Kingdom Hearts would be so much crazier nowadays. But that's a complaint about Kingdom Hearts 3. And I don't need to do that right here. But Kingdom Hearts 3, man. Kingdom Hearts 3. We're gonna get Avengers in Kingdom Hearts 4 and Star Wars, so it'll be fine. But yeah. Continuing, let's talk about some of these designs, all right? Sora's original design had him wielding a chainsaw. Also, he kind of looked like a lion, monkey, man hybrid thing. Seriously, like here's a picture. Look at that. Look how weird, cool that is. He has a chainsaw sword thing. So cool. And regardless of how cool it looks, I'm kind of glad Nomura didn't go with this. Now we have the more iconic look, the outfits with too many pockets, the big old shoes, and his iconic key for a sword weapon. These are the things that make Sora Sora, and I'm glad that these are the things that make Sora, well, Sora. And while I did say how cool the chainsaw keyblade sword thing is, I'm still really glad he settled on the Keyblade's design. And while I'm joking about how goofy the Keyblade actually is, it serves a key purpose. The Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts design is, a key, obviously. And that key is used to symbolize its unique role in the story. It represents the ability to unlock and seal pathways between worlds, and its connection to the wielder's heart and, their destinies. And to go even further than that, besides lore reasons, the Keyblade itself is incredibly recognizable as a design. It's literally the only key sword in the world, I'm pretty sure. And not only is it functional in universe, it's also incredibly functional outside in our universe. This Keyblade is more than just a simple design. It's a marketing tool that's been utilized so incredibly for over the last 2 decades, because the moment you see a Keyblade, by now you're just automatically associating that with Kingdom Hearts. You don't associate that with anything else. Okay, enough about the Keyblade. Back to Disney characters. When it comes to the Disney characters, they were brought into this game with a slightly edgier polish. Nothing too crazy, obviously. For example, clearly you have Donald the Wizard, which is normally never a thing, and you had Goofy the Knight with a shield, but without a sword, because, you couldn't have 2 swords, clearly. Now, on the other side of the table, when it came to Final Fantasy characters, like Cloud, he had his new redesign, which, okay, I don't know if this is a hot take, but Kingdom Hearts 1 Cloud redesign is so cool. It's so stupid, but it's so cool. Why does his sword have bandages on it? I don't know, but it's so cool. And my guy has a cloak that he doesn't need with a wing. And it's so stupid, and I kind of like it a little bit more than the original FF7 design. Anyway, with characters like Leon, who was literally just Squall with a cooler name. Little things like that reworked the characters to fit more into the narrative/world of Kingdom Hearts rather than their original respective worlds. They didn't just phone this in, they even got great voice acting for this. So, our main character Sora is voiced by Haley Joel Osment. You know, the kid from Forrest Gump, and even more recently, the guy that was name dropped in Euphoria that Kendrick got wrong. So that's actually pretty cool. I mean, think about it. Who else can say that, hey, I got brought up in the Drake brief and I'm not even a rapper? That's such a cool thing to add to your resume. You know, I'm just saying. Anyway, his voice gave Sora his signature optimism, while David Gallagher added depth to Riku's fall and redemption arcs. Now, as for Disney, yo, man, they put the money where their mouth was, bro. They brought out the big guns. Names like Bill Farmer, Tony Anselmo, and Wayne Alwyn. And I get it, you may not understand the power that these names just have, but let me tell you something, you know these people's voices. They are the real voices of Donald, Goofy, and freaking Mickey Mouse. That's crazy, man. They got the OGs for this game. These exceptional VAs gave performances that gave this game its emotional punch and depth that it needed to send this game into the stratosphere. When Sora shouted, "My friends are my power," you felt that, even if you just got clobbered by Ursula or the underwater physics. Instead of just brought up Ursula, let's talk about the gameplay and why the underwater physics are literally evil incarnate. Oh my gosh, underwater physics, man. Underwater physics. Actual garbage dog water. Anyway, at its core, Kingdom Hearts is an action RPG. You explore worlds, fight enemies, level up, and collect gear. And yell at Donald for never healing you, because clearly he has a union break you just didn't know about, because he will never heal you when you need it. Because, oh, Donald the Duck, I don't know your middle name, but sometimes, man, I used to want to strangle you because you would just never heal when I needed to. No, I'm gonna be better now. I'm a better person. Yeah. In this game, each Disney world is like its own mini adventure, from swinging through the vines with Tarzan or fighting Hades in the Olympic Coliseum. The joy, well, was in the discovery. Familiar places became battlefields or epic showdowns, wrapped in surprisingly emotional narratives. As for combat, it was in real time. You had your own attack commands, magic items, summons, the whole kit and caboodle. People don't say that, but I'm gonna say kit and caboodle right there. I'm old, not really, but maybe I am. Regardless, you had to juggle all this while controlling AI party members that were, for lack of wanting to use nicer words, the actual worst. It could be clunky, but it was dynamic. Magic spells would level up, you get new summons and abilities when you defeat certain areas/worlds. Also, yeah, I didn't really talk about the summons, but this is where the Disney characters really come to fruition. Their summons, and don't get me wrong, Simba's really cool, but then like you summon Bambi, and you're just like, intimidate them, Bambi. Show them why your mother died. Like, yo, why did I say that? That's well, yo, that's so what? Okay, that's a little bit too out of pocket for me. So why did I say that? I'm gonna keep this in. It's just funny. I would just keep this in. I don't care. Oh, okay. And one of the last key mechanics I want to talk about was a gummy ship, which was like a weird Star Fox meets Lego experience. That definitely divided fans, because granted, it wasn't that fun. I want to say probably in any games. Maybe that's just me. I don't want to talk for everybody else. For me personally, I have never enjoyed the gummy ship or any of the mechanics behind it. Like, I get what it does. It's cool. Customization is cool. I just don't care for any of the gummy ships. But that's just me. You might enjoy it, and if you do, more power to you. Keep that ship away from me. Okay, so we've gone over some of the good stuff like the VA casting, some of the bad stuff like the water level. I didn't go in depth, but just know I really hate it. So now let's talk about the stars of the show, the main characters. And clearly we need to start off with Sora, the optimist with a giant shoe problem. Sora is more than just our spiky-haired protagonist with clown shoes. He's the emotional core of Kingdom Hearts. He starts off as a carefree island kid dreaming of adventures, but when his world literally falls into darkness, he's forced to grow up fast. His psychology is rooted in deep empathy. He doesn't fight for glory, he fights for other people, even for strangers, even for villains sometimes. He's the kind of guy who'd risk everything just because he believes in someone. But underneath that sunshine boy exterior, sometimes you see the cracks. Sometimes you see a person who's too scared of being forgotten or left behind. And you see that desperation when it comes to Riku and Kairi. His attachment makes him very powerful, but also makes him very vulnerable. He's a beacon of light though, for sure, but potentially one powered by an almost obsessive need to hold on to what he loves regardless of the cost. Next, we have the best friend Riku, the fallen friend. Riku is basically what happens when you mix ambition with insecurity. He also loves his friends very dearly, but he fears being left behind more than anything. That fear makes him easy prey for the darkness inside of everyone, both literally and psychologically. And I mean, like, literally in the universe. Obviously, we don't have darkness inside of our chest. If you have darkness inside of your body, go to a doctor, get that checked out. You might be like evil. I don't know. Riku's journey is one of control, wanting control over his fate, his strength, and even his friends' safety. But he learns the hard way that power without purpose corrupts quickly. His betrayal hurts because it feels so human. He's not evil, he's just a lost kid. That's why his redemption arc hits also hard. While granted, we haven't all had a Riku in our lives, but I'm pretty sure we've all had one friend who's pushed us away for reasons they couldn't explain. But eventually, and hopefully gradually, they'll open up to you and explain what's going on, and you can help them to the best of your ability. And I believe that's something we can all relate to on a human level. Also, his evil fit, my guy, is so cool. Like, it's so edgy. Like, you know, this guy walks into a room and every piece of paper gets cut because of how edgy this man looks. It's so unnecessary, but it's so cool. And his keyblade, oh, it's so sick. I'm getting nauseous. I'm getting actually nauseous. This thing is so sick. It's so cool. It hurts. I'm gonna throw up. Okay. Now we get to Kairi, the symbol behind the spark. Kairi doesn't have much agency in Kingdom Hearts 1, unfortunately. Disney loves that whole princess in the tower cliche, so they do that with her. And besides the obvious cliche, her presence is technically a massive motivator. She's the emotional anchor for Sora and Riku, the person they're really fighting for, honestly, at the end of the day. In my own headcanon, she's always been perceived as home, as safety, as something that's considered stable for these two. So in a way, if she's at danger, that means your home's in danger. That means your safety's in danger. That means if she gets hurt, something is clearly going wrong. You've done something wrong. The world has done something wrong. So they need to protect her, and they choose different routes on how to do it, technically. Also, she's a princess. But, like, that's important, but it isn't, but it also is, because all the princesses... I didn't talk about the princesses, but they are important, like, super important, long-term wise. They're here in this game. They're important, but still, like, we're not... Anyway, Donald and Goofy, the most unexpected ride or dies of this franchise. Oh my goodness, these guys. Are they comic relief? Yes, but also the best example of found family. Donald is cranky, Goofy is wise in ways that sneak up on you, and both are fiercely loyal. They start off as royal emissaries, but end up as true friends. And honestly, during them dark times, who honestly hasn't wanted a sarcastic duck and a weirdly philosophical dog during hard times? Now we have Maleficent, the Shadow Queen of Manipulation. She's the textbook definition of a narcissistic villain. She doesn't want to destroy the world, but she wants to rule them. Her power comes from sowing doubt, manipulating fears, and exploiting emotional wounds, especially Riku's. She's not just a boss battle. She's a metaphor for how easy it is to fall when someone makes you feel like you're doing it for all the right reasons. And finally, we have our last key player, in my opinion, for this first game, Ansem, or Xehanort's Heartless, or Darkness Incarnate. You know, a lot of names for this guy, and there will be a lot more. Ansem is definitely one of the more cryptic villains in gaming. He speaks in riddles often, monologuing about the heart and darkness, like he's writing a gothic poetry blog or something in that nature. He wants to unlock the secrets of Kingdom Hearts itself, but underneath all that dramatic flair, long hair, and JoJo Stan Heartless power, he represents obsession, the kind that consumes identity, morality, and even existence to some extent. He's terrifying not because he's strong, but because he believes in what he's doing, even if that means destroying everything around him. In all honesty, he's a warning of what happens when curiosity and ambition are unchecked by empathy or humanity. And doesn't that just sound like a crazy cast of characters? I mean, like, everybody got good, bad, emotional highs, people driven by madness or obsession or something of that nature. A bunch of cool characters in this franchise. Together, these characters form this weird, tangled web of Kingdom Hearts 1. A story about fear, love, loss, and choosing light, even when darkness offers an easier path. And that's something I feel like a lot of people can relate to, and that's why it's resonated for so many people for so long. So I've talked about Kingdom Hearts for so long. What is this game actually about? So let me talk a little bit about the lore a little bit. So, you know, buckle up. It's lore time. Sora lives on Destiny Island with his friends Riku and Kairi. One day, darkness shows up on his island, and for lack of better words, the island gets wrecked. And because of this, Sora ends up on another world where he meets Donald and Goofy, who are searching for King Mickey because he's off doing Mickey stuff in the world of darkness or something, capitalism. Either way, he's not there. These three jump from world to world fighting Heartless. And what are Heartless, you ask? Well, they're creatures born from darkness. What is darkness, you ask? Okay, like, It's bad. Really bad. And what are hearts? Hearts are everything. Hearts are light. Hearts are power. Hearts are people, unless they aren't. Look, the game says hearts like 400 times. It never fully defines it. So at some point, you just kind of roll with it, unless it's about key, because that's a thing that isn't important to this game. But I know stuff because I watched like a 6-hour lore video because I just wanted to know stuff. Anyway, eventually, after going from world to world, they officially confront Ansem. And at the same time, they kind of don't. That makes more sense later, but still, regardless, the villain who's obsessed with darkness, hearts, and shirtless monologues. Please, brother, I am begging you, zip that thing up. No one wants to see all that in that weird heart hole. Or maybe that's a design. What is that? Is that a hole or a design on his jacket? You know, regardless, I'm not trying to see it anyway. Riku gets possessed, Kairi loses her heart, Sora stabs himself. It's not as bad as it seems, it makes sense. And in the end, everybody sacrifices something. Sora chooses to be apart from Kairi to save the world. Riku goes with Mickey behind the door of darkness. Donald and Goofy are stuck with Sora. And that's pretty much how Kingdom Hearts 1 ends. Pretty cool, sad, but you know, it is what it is. Also, confused, makes sense, because I was too as a kid. Do we eventually get those answers? Kinda yes, kinda no. And you would think you would get the answers in the next game of Kingdom Hearts 2, but clearly you've never played a Kingdom Hearts game and nothing would ever be that simple. Because my friend, clearly you have not heard of Chain of Memories. Because that game is what's next. Not 2, because you would think it'd be 2, but no, it was Chain of Memories on the GBA, a completely different console, because reasons, I guess. So what do you do when your game becomes a surprise super mega hit? Clearly you need to make a transition to the sequel, right? Except don't, because you need to make a GBA game and also make it a card game and confuse everybody, because that's what Chain of Memories did for the Kingdom Hearts franchise. It's technically not the sequel game, but it's like 1.5. Chain of Memories is set immediately after the events of the first game. We start off with our crew, Sora, Donald, and Goofy, arriving at Castle Oblivion, where the game will take place, because there's no other location except for the castle, which makes sense when you find out what's going on. Where the essential mechanics are, memories, and what changed them. This concept takes the spotlight, and by spotlight, I mean it chucks your brain out the window. In universe, the more Sora climbs the castle levels, the more he forgets, i.e. his friends, the mission, or even the reason why he's there. And instead, all of his memories are getting replaced by this evil Organization 13. By the way, sick cloaks. Oh my gosh, bro. Organization 13 has the sickest cloaks in the game. Oh, they're so cool. They're so cool. And they actually have a reason. They're not just like a stylistic choice. There's a reason why they have the cloaks, which is like twice as cool. Okay, but that's enough about the setup. Gameplay-wise, like I said earlier, say goodbye to real-time combat and say hello to card-based strategy. Do you want to swing your Keyblade? You better have the right card. Do you want to use magic? Hope you shuffled it into your deck. This game somehow managed to be turn-based and real-time at the same time. Also, some of the most fun you could have in the GBA as a kid, in my opinion. But here's the thing, it works emotionally. You're not just forgetting stuff, you feel like you're losing something important, just like Sora's. Memories become weapons, and forgetting someone becomes the same as losing them entirely. For a Game Boy Advance game title, that was kind of heavy. Oh, also, you can't forget Naminé. Who is she? Why does she matter? You'll find out in Kingdom Hearts 2. Probably. Or maybe 3 games later. Who knows? Chain of Memories is weird, brave, and frustrating, but also a testament how Kingdom Hearts was never afraid to get experimental, or giving you a narrative you probably wouldn't fully comprehend as a kid, and eventually you had to come back a couple years later and watch like a 6-hour YouTube video to figure out, oh, that's what that means. I was just a dumb kid. That might happen to you too, or maybe I'm just the outlier. Who could say? Who could say? I could say. But who else could say? Anyway, enough about all this. Let's talk about how the game did overall. Kingdom Hearts has sold over 6 million copies across the PS2 and re-releases. It wasn't just a success, it was a phenomenon. It outsold expectations and greenlit a franchise that's still going strong today, 20 years later. And at least 7 different types of darknesses later, 3 other Soras, 13 Xehanorts, 6 other people that have had or is Sora's heart or something like that, Donald dying that one time, 2 crazy Sephiroth fights, a couple of mobile games, and 1 Kingdom Heart. This franchise still sparks waves of joy for fans all over the world, and this ever-expanding world didn't stop at just video games. The reach of Kingdom Hearts extends to other media. The manga adaptation was charming and full of visual gags. On a personal note, that's the way I actually got into Kingdom Hearts, because it's kind of weird. So my first game I ever played was Chain of Memories, actually. When I was younger, I traded it for my copy of Pokemon Ruby on the Game Boy Advance, because at the time, someone had told me, oh, this is the coolest game in the world. You've never played a game as cool as Kingdom Hearts before. You don't know what Kingdom Hearts is. Me being the sheltered kid I was, absolutely I did not. Because if you didn't know, Final Fantasy was definitely too edgy for my upbringing, and Kingdom Hearts looked like Final Fantasy, so my parents were automatically like, nah, man, you can't play with that. But eventually, I told them Mickey Mouse was in it, so they're like, you know what? Clearly, Mickey Mouse is the symbol of everything happy in America, so they gave me the green light. Biggest mistake of their life, because I became a JRPG fan because of that, and I have killed God in multiple games. That's crazy. Regardless, though, after I played this game, I realized I sucked at action games, so I had my older brother help me, and eventually, I got kinda good after a while. But in my defense, at that point, the only quote-unquote action game I had ever really played on the Game Boy was Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland. So you know what? I'm coming from baby mode to Chain of Memories. The skill gap was definitely apparent, so I needed help, so I got my older brother. Regardless, eventually we did beat the game. It was fun. I really got into action RPG games because of that, and also I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of because of it also. But that's neither here nor there. I say all this to say, by the time I beat Chain of Memories, I only realized this wasn't the first game into the franchise. Completely devastating myself, by the way. I was like, what do you mean this isn't a sequel, but it's a sequel? What? Why? What? Completely confused. So eventually, I did what everyone else did at the time who didn't have a personal computer. I went to the library and I asked a very kind librarian to help me find out more about Kingdom Hearts. And eventually, our discovery led us to the manga section, where I read Kingdom Hearts the first time. I didn't play the video game, I read the manga. So that is how I got into Kingdom Hearts the first time. I eventually did play the video game, but I did start with the manga. So, long story short, my introduction to the franchise is really weird. So there you go. Now you know my weird history. Anyway, while I started with the manga, there's actually more than the manga. There's also light novels, which I did not read, but they exist. But also, evil laugh right there. We got to talk about the soundtrack, because you already know Kingdom Hearts has one of the most 2000s would-be Evanescence soundtrack of all time. Oh my goodness. Simple and clean. Simple and clean. What can I say about Simple and Clean that hasn't been said a million times over? That song changed my brain chemistry, and I'm pretty sure brain chemistry of millions of people across the world. Utada Hikaru's Simple and Clean is so good. Oh my, on everything, it is such a good song. And if it was up to me, I'd be playing Simple and Clean throughout this entire video, but I know the first time that AI bot hears the word simple and hears anything that comes after this video is getting clapped up faster than anything I could react to. Regardless, this song is stuck in our heads for years. It had no right to go this hard for a PS2 game intro, but I'm so glad they did. And before long, we even had Keyblade replicas, action figures, pins, plushie, hoodies, the whole kit and caboodle. I said it again. Doesn't matter. If you could dream it, Kingdom Hearts has merch for it practically. Kingdom Hearts went from being a game to an aesthetic. I looked at goth kids, Disney adults, and JRPG fans and said, hey, look at this common ground. I found it for you. You're welcome. Well, granted, I'm pretty sure none of these people were looking for common ground, but honestly, I'm really glad that we found it, and that's pretty cool. So, what happens when a Square Enix dev rides the elevator with a Disney executive? Well, apparently, millions of lives get changed forever. Kingdom Hearts began with a pitch that sounded like a fanfiction Mad Lib, and yet somehow it worked. Not just because it combined two huge media franchise universes. I mean, that definitely did help. No, it's because it tapped into something deeply human. The idea that darkness, however vague, corny, or overused that term might be, is something that we all have to face. Fear, loneliness, losing what matters the most, and yeah, the game's not perfect. The camera's a little janky, and the controls definitely take a little bit of getting used to, especially in that underwater level. Goodness, that underwater level. And sometimes the dialogue can be peak 2000s, if you know what I mean. But when you step back, I mean really step back, and you look at what Kingdom Hearts did, it didn't just give us a game, it gave us hope. It taught us about empathy and about standing by your friends, and that sometimes the most powerful thing in this universe is holding someone's hand and saying, I believe in you. It inspired a generation of fans to care loudly, passionately, and to buy multiple gaming consoles to continue the storyline that if you wanted to watch, I will recommend a 6-hour video. I'll link it in the comments right now. It's so helpful, it's so informative, and it's 6 long hours. Please watch this video. This man worked clearly way too hard on this, and he deserves more recognition. Because no matter how complicated this timeline gets, or how many times Sora dies but doesn't, no matter how many versions of Xehanort there are, no matter what's in that stupid box, we all still really care about this franchise. We love this stupid, silly, beautiful mess. We love the magic, we love the friendship, we love the heart. At the end of the day, we all still really care about that goofy kid with the big yellow shoes, and we're rooting for him no matter what he's going through. So hey, I'm Remy. Thanks for letting me check up on Kingdom Hearts. Y'all be easy, and I will see y'all in the next one. Later. Also, bro, I didn't talk about this, but like, oh my god, bro, the designs of the characters in this game are like super over the top cool. Like, it's goofy in like a nerdy way, but at the same time, it's like, man, if you were any of this in real life, you would look so stupid. But like, it works. It works. Okay, yeah, that's it for me. Yeah. All right, y'all. Later.